Hi all, welcome to another video presentation, and today we will discuss about immunology. In this particular presentation, we will be dealing the basic outline of immunology. This is nothing but the study of immune system, especially in higher level organisms, particularly in relation to a disease. This can be defined as a branch of biology or branch of science which is concerned with the structure, function, and other reactions of the immune system. And basically, the immune system has the capacity to distinguish the self cells from the non self cells. That is one of the basic feature of the immune system. And this also deals with the production of antibody and the antibody based laboratory techniques or immunoassays, commonly we say. So, in short, you can say immune system or immunology deals with the body's ability to protect the body, to protect by the body themselves from the physical, chemical, or biological agents. These agents, immunologically, we use the term antigen. So these are nothing but the foreign substances which enter into the body. These are the non-self substances which enter into the body, which usually can induce the immune system, and the immune system gets activated, and this activation leads to a response by the body which is called the immune response. So in other ways, you can say immune system is nothing but the ability of the body to respond against the external agents. So that response is called the immune response. And immune response are of basically two types: innate immune response and adaptive immune response. Still, we have many other classification. So first we will see innate and adaptive immune response. And in the adaptive immune response, still we have another subdivision into cell mediated and antibody mediated immune response. Cell mediated or CMI, antibody mediated, it's otherwise also called humoral mediated or HMI. So what is innate immunity? Innate immunity, by the term indicates, this is innate. That means by nature or by birth itself, an individual possesses certain resistance. And this immunity is what we call the innate immunity. This is usually act as the first line of defense, and these particular reactions are non-specific. That means the reaction against an antigen, against a foreign substance, is not specific to a particular substance. This is a general response against all the external agents. Right, that means the response are the same for all the potential pathogens, no matter how different they may be. All right, so innate immunity usually include the body's physical resistance. That means the physical barriers that usually gives a covering from the external environment, like skin and skin, the mucous membrane, and also the body's secretions like saliva, tears, etc. And this also, the innate immunity also will be provided by body's immune cells, especially like macrophages, neutrophils, and various other cells are involved in the activity of this response. In short, you can otherwise also, these are the ready-made, or they are the ready-to-go reaction. They are the ready-to-go resistance of the body, right? And usually this is usually will give you the first line of defense. That means these reactions will be the first resistance an individual usually exert against foreign substances. And also this will help the body, or this kind of resistance will help the body to develop or to activate the next lines of defense. Adaptive immunity, on the other hand, is the second line of defense. Usually these immunity involves, or this immunity usually it develops a kind of memory against the foreign material. That is one of the peculiar feature of adaptive immunity. And this adaptive immunity involves cells and other proteins like antibody molecules. Right, the major cells involved in adaptive immunity are the T cells and the B cells. And the B cells are responsible for the production of antibody molecules, and they play a vital role in body's resistance development against the foreign substances. And the T cells, of course, are important. They are involved in the destruction of foreign substances in various ways. So you can see in short, this diagram will give you an idea about different components involved in the immune responses of innate and adaptive versions. In the innate version, you can see a number of cells and other proteins involved, and in the adaptive also the T cells and B cells involved. So usually the innate response will be somewhat rapid because most of them are readily available in the body, whereas the adaptive responses are to be developed. They are developed during the infection or during the exposure of the body to the foreign substances. So they'll take some period of time, but the you have to remember that the adaptive immunity maintains a memory so that a second infection will be easily tackled. So all these representations will give you an idea about how they react. So in adaptive immunity, as already stated, there are two types of responses. One is called cell mediated immune response or CMI. The other one is called the humoral mediated immune response or HMI. So in cell mediated immune response, usually T cells plays the central role. Right, T cells are the vital or the key player in cell mediated immunity. The T cells has of two types, T helper cells and T cytotoxic cells. Usually the T helper cell is the central player in all the immune responses, and T cytotoxic cells are responsible for destruction of especially the cells which are infected with viruses or like cells like tumor cells and all. So they have a cytolytic capacity, right? So in whatever be the cell type, the T cells play a major role in cell mediated response, right? So you can see here, when a bacteria like a foreign substance comes to the body, the macrophages plays that means they gets activated, and these macrophages will in turn activate the T cells by a process called antigen presentation, and this leads to the activation of T cells, and this T cells in turn will activate lot of other reactions, right? And here the adaptive immune response or the humoral immune response, and otherwise the antibody mediated immune response, usually induced by a bacteria. When a bacteria can induce these cells like B cells, they produce antibodies, and these antibodies can directly attack these foreign substances. And one of the interesting thing is that most of the cases the B cells are also activated by the T cells or by the products of the cell mediated immune response. So in that cases there is an interconnection, and in most of the immune reactions there is an interconnection between the cell mediated immunity and humoral mediated immunity. Not only CMI and HMI, even the adaptive immunity and innate immunity has been connected each other. In this slide you can check two types of entry of bacteria into the body. See, in the first part, or in the image A, you can see a microbes comes usually through the epithelial surface, and there this epithelial surface itself acts as a defense system, and when it crosses that defense, when it overcomes that defense of the body, it enter into the next level, and there the body has a second line of defense, line of attack. There you can see the phagocytosis occurs, and also there is natural killer cells, right? All these cells are part of innate response, and they usually they perform their activities, and that will be complemented by a lot of proteins and chemicals in the immune system, and these include these complements and other proteins, and ultimately these microbes will be destroyed. That's happening in innate immunity. And on the other hand, you can see the adaptive immunity. When the bacteria enter, the B cells are activated. Directly the B cells are activated. And once activated, they produce as antibodies, and these antibodies will release into the blood circulation, and these antibodies will search for any foreign substances. That means these kind of antibodies or these kind of bacteria, and that bacteria will be lysed by means of antigen antibody reaction. Right. So this is the basic idea about innate and adaptive immune response, or otherwise you can say they are, as already stated, these are not isolated reactions. All of them are interreactive in nature. And similarly, when the antigen is exposed to a body for the first time, the time it taken for the body to respond against it usually will be somewhat longer compared to a second exposure. Right, both innate and adaptive immunity will work together in both situations. That means even in the first exposure and in the second exposure, both innate and adaptive immunity are playing. But in case of first exposure, usually it takes longer time than the second exposure. Different components of the immune system together are called sometimes called a lymphoreticular system, usually which consists of the spleen, lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, thymus, and bone marrow. Usually these are the components where the immune cells are produced, activated, and circulated. Right. So these include certain organs and certain body fluids. Right. And the function of this system include the immune defense, and also the transport of fats throughout the body, and collection and transport of interstitial fluid, and these fluid will be circulated back to the circulatory system. So this is the function of the lymphoreticular system. So this system comprises diverse organs and cells. Just like any other system, organ system, like the digestive system, the respiratory system, all other systems have a number of cells. Similarly, immune system also consists of different organs and cells, and all they are interconnected. That means the primary function of these organs and these cells are to provide a protection. So these protective units must be having an interconnection, or they will be having a communication system, and this communication is made possible, and also their surveillance is made possible through the body fluids, and all these activities are tightly regulated by various regulatory systems. And when we talk about the immune system, the very basic thing we need to understand is about the blood. And all of you know that blood is the body fluid, is the major body fluid, and by weight of the body fluid or the blood consists of around 8% of the total body weight. Right. And within the blood, we know that there is a fluid portion, and there is a solid particle part, and this part what we call the formed elements, which comprises 45% of the blood, and 55% of the blood is a fluid portion. And within that fluid portion, which is collectively we called as plasma, and within the plasma 91%, the major portion, the lion portion, is water itself, and there is a 7% of proteins, and these 7% of protein comprise in turn albumins, globulins, and fibrinogens, and their percentage is also given. Mostly it is albumin, and there is around 38% of globulins, and these globulins represents what we study like antibodies. And there is a 2% of other solutes also, like nutrients, ions, and other gas substances. And in the formed elements, there are number of cells, like white blood cells and red blood cells, and also platelets. And the white blood cells are of prime importance when we discuss immune responses or immune system. And within the white blood cells, or WBCs, there are number of cells are there: neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. in the order of their concentration. Neutrophils are the most abundant cellular type present in blood. Right. So all these things are important in terms of immune response. We must have an idea about what is blood, what is plasma, what are the different cells and all. Okay. And also another basic difference we need to understand is about plasma and serum. Right, plasma and serum. That's also a basic difference we need to understand when we talk about immunology. Plasma is the liquid cell-free part of the blood that has been treated with an anticoagulant. Right. So plasma is the anticoagulated blood. Clear? So both serum and plasma are the liquid portions, but plasma is the liquid portion after treatment with an anticoagulant, whereas serum is the liquid part after coagulation. Right, that means there is no anticoagulant added, so there will be a coagulation. And what is the result? That means the clotted, therefore it will be devoid of clotting factors like fibrinogen. That means fibrinogen will not be present in serum, whereas plasma will contain fibrinogen also. Right, so in short, you can create a definition like serum will be plasma minus fibrinogen. Okay, so these are the different cells present in the body which are involved especially in immune responses. Right, most of them, like except like RBCs, all other cells are involved in immune response. We will discuss in detail about each of them in next videos of immunology. And we also must have an idea about lymph. Blood, already we see that this is the major body fluid, and lymph is also another body fluid which is of importance in terms of immunology or immune response, and they basically function for providing protection, especially for providing protection in the intercellular site. Right, we know that the blood is in a controlled circulation. Blood is circulated in a controlled way. That means there is a network called blood vessels, and these blood vessels will carry the blood, and any agent coming into the blood will be attacked by these cells. And also there are certain systems to release the cells out of the blood vessels and attack the foreign substances. But the question is, when a bacteria or when an antigen enter into the body in the interstitial site, that means in between the tissues, then how the body will understand, or how the body will eliminate these foreign substances? The answer is that lymph will clean the interstitial site. Lymph is the responsible fluid to clean the interstitial site. Right, so by definition, this is a clear yellowish, slightly alkaline, coagulable fluid which contain, that's important, which contain white blood cells. Right, and these are derived from the tissues of the body and conveyed to the bloodstream by the lymphatic vessels. Right. So usually you can otherwise also say these lymph are basically derived from the body itself. That means they are derived from both blood and other tissues. Right, largely the lymph is derived from the blood itself. From the blood there is a fluid which squeezes out of the blood vessels through their minor pores, and these clear fluid will carry certain cells also, and these cells are responsible for immune response in the interstitial sites. And also these kind of fluids are secreted by the tissues of the body also. So collectively what we call it as lymph. And finally where it goes, this lymph or this fluid will be circulated back to the bloodstream, and that is controlled by a network of the body called lymphatic vessels. Right. And along this lymphatic vessel, there are certain collection centers called lymph nodes, right, which are soft, small, round or bean shaped structures. And usually we know that we will experience the location of the lymph node when we have an injury, right, because they are usually located in clusters in various parts of the body like neck, armpit, groin, and inside center of the chest and abdomen. When we have an infection at one part of the body, or when you have an injury at right hand, you will feel a pain in the armpit, right. So this is because there is a swelling, there is an activity, higher range activity in the lymph nodes of the armpit. So this is because of the working condition, or this is because of the effective activation of the immune system, right. So this will give you an idea about the lymphatic system. The materials present in the tissue spaces will be cleaned and swept away by the lymph fluid. And you can also see the location of the lymph nodes in the body. So by that we'll wind up this introductory part of immune system, and in the next videos we will discuss in detail about the immune response and other reactions. Thank you for listening.